Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, in the heights on the plain, in the vale on the lake, in the sun, in the rain? Do you hear, do you hear? Through the roar, through the rush, through the throng, through the crush, do you hear in the hush of your soul, of your soul? Hear the cry, fear won't still, hear the heart's call to will, hear a sigh, startling trill, in your soul, in your soul. From the place where you stand to the outermost strand, do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear, do you hear? All the dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers, they are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear, do you hear?
Welcome. Come into our house of hope and love, of peace and justice, of wholeness and healing. We welcome the certain and the seeking, the lifers and the newcomers, the beloved and the brokenhearted, all of whom can find a home in our community, Throop Unitarian Universalist Church, where we go love the world from the heart of Pasadena. Good morning, I'm Taryn Sindeband. I've been a Throop member for a little over 8 years and have held many roles here at Throop, and today I'm your worship associate. Finally, if you are new to Throop, we would love to stay in touch. You can fill out an info card found in the pew and give it to an usher later in the worship service, or leave it on the back table. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Each one of us is a light in the world. The flame from our chalice symbolizes and reflects that light.
Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with a flame from our candles of prayers and healing. Welcome to this place of peace. May we find some moments of quiet contemplation. Welcome to this place of celebration. May our hearts soar with gratitude for the gift of life. Welcome to this place of sacred love. May we hold gently all that is broken here. Welcome to this place of inquiry. Here, may we be challenged to open our minds and hearts ever wider. Come into this place of community. May we together draw the circle of love and justice ever wider. Welcome to this sacred place. Come, let us worship, celebrate, grieve, and love together. We light a second candle to honor the people and ancestors whose lands we now occupy. The land under and around Throop is the unceded land of the Gabrielino Tongva Band of Mission Indian people. May this knowledge and awareness lead us into dismantling systems of supremacies and oppressions. We light a third candle, symbolizing our watershed, the Arroyo Seco. May their waters continue to nourish life in our communities. We take a moment of silence, holding all of these in our hearts. Now please rise as your body and spirit allow for our opening hymn, Let This Be a House of Peace, number 1054 in your teal hymnal.
Let this be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question, for inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of freedom, guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred differences here shall not divide us. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
Please turn to your neighbor and greet them.
Let all in this house seek truth, where scientists and mystics abide in reverence here. Let this be our house, of hills of our creation, where works of art and melodies consecrate the atmosphere. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of prophecy. May vision for our children be our common theme. Let this be our house of myth and lore and legend, a trove of ancient story and cradle of our tender dreams. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be our house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
As we brace for a week of hot temperatures, please join me in reciting the true promise to our planet found in your order of worship. As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. With hearts filled with love for it, and eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources, we promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself.
This is Of Course by Janet Hutchinson. Of course I want the truth, but here's the rub. Truth doesn't sit around, still as a rock. It breathes and flows and turns inside out. Ever seen a lion in a cage? He paces and glowers. That must be how God feels. Locked in our little religions, look how big the sky is, the deep distances between stars. Little speck, that's you. Laughable speck, that's me. How could we contain the truth, all that overwhelming light? Our truth is just a pinprick in mystery's velvet curtain. Even so, see how we struggle to fix an eyeball to that peep show's tiny window.
Please join me in singing our children and program leaders to Kids Dig In this week.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be.
This is an excerpt from The Powerful Grace of Nature, Discovering Nature's Mercy by D. Essler. Nature extends its merciful touch to those seeking solace. A stroll through a serene forest, the gentle rustling of leaves, waves breaking on the beach, or the soothing sound of a babbling brook can provide much-needed respite from the chaos of daily life. It surrounds us in its calming embrace, allowing our worries to dissipate and our souls to find peace. Nature teaches us the art of forgiveness and regeneration. After a destructive storm, it rebuilds, rejuvenates, and offers new beginnings. It reminds us that even in the face of adversity, there is always hope and the possibility of renewal. In fact, many habitats require occasional destructive forces to keep healthy. Nature's mercy invites us to forgive ourselves and others, allowing room for growth and transformation.
Congregation, if you would like to follow along, please open your teal hymnals to number 1068.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. The sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain.
My hands hold the weavings of time without end. My sight as deep as the sea. Beneath my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love,
That of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
This church is our church. We support it through our gifts of time, our gifts of talent, and our gifts of treasure. You can give online. The directions are in the order of worship, or place your gift in the offering plate. If you are a first-time visitor, please let the offering plate pass you by. Thank you for supporting our life together. The offering will now be gratefully received.
With heart and mind and voice and hand,
may we this time and place transcend to make our purpose understood. A mortal search for mortal good, a firm commitment to the goal of justice, freedom, peace for all. A mind that's free to seek the truth, a mind that's free in age and youth, to make a path no threat impedes, wherever light of conscience leads. Our martyrs died so we could be a church where every mind is free. A heart that's kind, a heart whose search makes love the spirit of our church, where we can grow and each one's gift is sanctified and spirits lift, where every door is open wide for all who choose to step inside, where every door is open wide for all who choose to step inside.
In a spirit of gratitude, we lift up our thanks to those supporting our worship service today. Vahe, our live stream operator, Ripley, our lay reader, Faith with the children's program, Barbara and Karen, our greeters and ushers, Tom, our coffee and conversation host, Jack for giving today's sermon, Malcolm and the choir on music, Jessica for administrative support, and Rev Tara and Nick for their guidance and care. As we pause in recognition for all the ways we support our Throop community life, say with me the words in your order of service. With gratitude for the ministries of the church that hold us and embolden us to love the world, we bless our offering and the many gifts we share. Our centering hymn is from You I Receive, number 402.
To you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Good morning. Oh, thanks. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Jacqueline or Jack Cosgrove, either is fine. My pronouns are they, them. And for anybody who needs a visual description, I am a somewhat tall, white. I lovingly describe myself as a chunky dunk. I have a fantastic mullet, and I wear glasses, and I'm in as little clothing as possible because it's hot today. All right. With that, now is the time for our pastoral prayer and shared stillness. Today's reading is Inner Peace Meditation by Titus Glynn. I'd like you to find as comfortable a position as you can, either sitting, this says or lying down, so do what you want, and gently close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with healing energy. Exhale slowly, releasing as much tension and pain as you can. Let's begin. Allow yourself to fully arrive in this present moment. Let go of the weight of the past and the worries of the future. Be here now, with yourself ready to embark on this journey of healing. Reflect. Take a moment to acknowledge the experiences and emotions that have shaped your spiritual journey. Embrace the courage it takes to confront past traumas and release the grip they may have on your heart. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and open to the healing that awaits. Nurture your inner healing. Visualize a warm, gentle light surrounding your heart. Feel its soothing presence as it begins to dissolve pain, resentment, fear. With each breath, allow this healing light to expand, filling every corner of your being. As you breathe, let go of judgment and self-doubt. I say again, let go of judgment and self-doubt. Embrace self-compassion and forgiveness. Know that you are deserving of love, of peace, of spiritual wholeness. We approach the end of this meditation. Take a moment to express gratitude for the strength within you, the resilience that allows you to embark on this healing journey. Trust that you have the power to unchurch, to heal, and to reclaim your spiritual identity. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, carrying the warmth of healing and the power of self-discovery with you as you continue your day.
Tradition held fast through varied time and place, the raising of voices, the touching of hands, circle of spirit, council of grace, all faith finds expression on countless lands. Freed from the worldly burdens that we bear, released in this time of forgiving, healing, sharing, lifted by power of circle of peace will not break as we part. Though form is gone, as we conclude, through us will it open to every fate of life and every open heart.
Thank you, Malcolm. You're a real treasure. Just over 7.5 years ago, I sat in a nursing home room watching my older brother die. He'd been diagnosed with brain cancer in 2016, had surgery, and my family thought he was cured. He wasn't. The cancer came back aggressively. I was the first in the room to realize my brother, Clinton, had officially died. His wife had been playing music on her phone, understandably to soothe his suffering from repeated seizures. And then he took his final breath in the middle of Amazing Grace. Poetic, right? I've been angry ever since. Not just because my brother died at 34 years old. That was an anger deeper than I'd ever known, but also because that damn song was playing. My brother loved heavy metal and rock and roll. Why couldn't it have been Iron Man by Black Sabbath, the first song he learned to play on electric guitar, or Nothing Else Matters by Metallica? Why couldn't it have been something that would provide me with comfort? I finally decided earlier this year that it was time to process and maybe let go of my hatred of the most well-known Christian hymn in America. I texted Reverend Tara pitching the sermon idea, and I've been overthinking it, maybe lightly regretting it ever since. The question I have landed on that feels most helpful to me and hopefully to you to answer is, what comfort, if any, can a Unitarian Universalist draw from Amazing Grace? Especially for those of us who lean agnostic, atheist, or in the, camp. Is there some sort of lesson to be learned, like if we listen to the song from a secular point of view? Given the song's long history of providing comfort to millions of Americans through wars and terrorist attacks and during the civil rights movement, it seems foolish to not at least try to unpack what we can take from this beloved song, especially given the current state of our country. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. John Newton is believed to have written those words around 1772 in Olney, a small town in England. It is believed to have originally been titled Faith's Review and Expectation. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? The song was part of a sermon that Newton was going to give on New Year's Day in 1773. So where did Newton get the idea, the inspiration for this iconic song? This, friends, is where the song's history gets, at best, murky. There are many, many accounts of Newton's life. There's no flat spot up here. There are many, many accounts of Newton's life, some of which romanticize or glaze over the hardest bits to swallow. But let's dive in. Newton was born in a borough of London. He grew up with a mother who tried to raise him as a good Christian boy, but she tragically died when he was 7 from TB. His ship captain father, who by all accounts was not a nice man, shipped him off to boarding school, and then, when Newton was only 11, took him out to sea. Early in his life, Newton wanted to be a ship captain and seemed to feel fairly sure his powerful father should empower him to get the opportunity as soon as possible. Instead, he was forcibly enlisted into the British Navy when he was around 19, which his father did not stop, even though he had the power to do so. Newton was not a good soldier, and he tried to abandon ship for love, for a woman he'd later marry. He got caught, though, trying to go AWOL, and was brutally beaten by his shipmates. When Newton asked his Navy ship captain if he could leave his post for another ship, his captain quickly said, "Yes, get out of here." It was the first of many slave ships that Newton would work on. But Newton was not well liked on the slave ship either. He ended up leaving that ship to work for another enslaver, who then enslaved Newton for about 2 years on a remote island off the coast of Sierra Leone. That man and his wife shackled Newton's ankles and made him do a lot of manual labor. They nicknamed him Servant of Slaves, as they were reportedly nicer to the people they enslaved than to him. Now, the most generous of you out there might be thinking that this is the moment where Newton started writing the song, that this is the moment where he realized that slavery was reprehensible. Not yet. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. I was getting groceries in Ralph's, and I was in the frozen section, probably looking for vegan sausage, when I started feeling like I would pass out. What was happening? Was I sick? I stood braced against my shopping cart, and that's when I heard it. That damn song. Amazing Grace was playing over the radio. It had been less than a year since Clinton died. As the words played, I abandoned my cart and ran from the store. I didn't want to be anywhere near that song. After 2 years of being enslaved, Newton was rescued from the island thanks to his father. Aboard this latest ship, Newton stood out, yet again, as a really bad guy. That's the reason he wasn't liked on all these other ships. He was, later he'll admit this, a scoundrel. He cursed and drank way more than his fellow sailors. He sang vulgar songs. The captain, a friend of his father's, was unimpressed, to say the least. Then, one night, the crew encounters a massive storm. Newton and the others think that they're going to die. There are several versions of what happens next, but to distill them down and sift out some of the dramatics, I will just say, during the storm, Newton is believed to have cried out to God for mercy. And then the seas calmed. And 4 weeks later, back on shore, Newton found his way to church. He was 23. Is this the moment that Newton becomes what in 2025 we'd view as a redeemable person? No. A born-again Christian, Newton keeps working in the slave trade. He only stops when 6 years later he suffers a stroke or a seizure, I found records of both, and he is physically unable to keep working in the slave trade. He keeps investing, though, in slavery. Now, Newton does eventually become an abolitionist, a point that is heavily romanticized in many of the retellings of his life. But Newton had not spoken out against slavery in 1772 when he is believed to have written Amazing Grace. It wasn't until 16 years later when he wrote a text titled Thoughts Upon the African Slave Trade, where he denounced slavery. Historians have noted that although Newton did write about the violence he witnessed on slave ships, he is light on the details of the violence he committed, although historians very much believe he did. Now, some have tried to tie Newton speaking out against slavery to Great Britain abolishing it in 1807, but as one article in the Library of Congress notes, quote, "There is no direct link between Amazing Grace and the abolition of slavery in Britain. Nonetheless, the hymn was written by a man who was moved to speak out against something from which he had once profited. In an essay, Newton said, 'I hope it will always be a subject of humiliating reflection to me that I was once an active instrument in a business at which my heart now shudders.'" So after reading biographies and essays about Newton, I wanted it to end there. Here's this Nepo baby scoundrel who barely took accountability for his reprehensible actions where he made thousands, if not millions in today's money, off slavery. I am not going to bestow anything but judgment toward him. I'm done with Amazing Grace. We're done here. That's what, at one point, I thought. I wanted to do that. But I kept having this nagging feeling that I had to keep going. Because at the end of that Library of Congress entry, it notes, it seems fitting that Newton's hymn has become for so many, including those fighting for civil rights, an anthem against all forms of social injustice. As Unitarian Universalists, we honor the importance of pluralism, which I understand as our practice of seeing a peaceful coexistence as crucial to our faith, while also trying to listen and search for answers, while understanding those answers are so often in direct conflict with each other. In short, there's always more learning to do. And so I sought out the perspectives of Black musicians, authors, and artists to in part understand how Amazing Grace became, among other things, the anthem of the civil rights movement, as many suggest. The poet and playwright Romy Smith was asked to help reimagine Amazing Grace for a 250th anniversary performance at the Cowper and Newton Museum, where the life of John Newton is celebrated and investigated too. As part of her work, Romy Smith interviewed 23 people whose lives are connected to Amazing Grace. She wrote 10 poems inspired by these interviews. In one work titled Redefining Amazing Grace, Smith asked the question, who does Amazing Grace belong to? The poem answers in part, song of my people weighs heavy on me, from the black Atlantic to the Irish Sea. The song that my grandmother made her own is the song of the Black church and of coming home, is the missing song told in 5 Black notes, the song of my ancestors who lived the storm, rising now as I sing these words, sung to their glory this missing verse, not John Newton's hymn anymore, but ours. Another poem of Smith's answers this question that she asked her interview subjects. John Newton worked in the slave trade. Does that influence how you see the hymn Amazing Grace? The poem answers, wretch, I cannot say less sing that word, the damage that's been done. Religion is the ship which sailed the Atlantic Ocean. A former slaver writes a hymn to buy his own redemption. What of those who knew the hold? Did grace extend to them? There is so much more to say, but given the time and the temperature outside, I must stop there. The lesson I've learned in my studies of Amazing Grace is that no one person can definitively say, hey, we're gonna stop singing Amazing Grace now, and just everybody stops. The song has grown too powerful for one person to hold that kind of power. At the same time, no one person can proclaim that Amazing Grace has officially been reclaimed. As much as we long for these neat and tidy binaries, Amazing Grace is too many things for too many people, something that we as Unitarian Universalists, who understand how complex and maybe impossible finding the ultimate truth is, can appreciate. Where I've landed in my relationship with Amazing Grace is this. Whether I want to hear the song depends on the singer and their intentions. If it is being sang by someone who I know isn't considering its full context, perhaps in a church that I know has a history of white nationalism, that version of Amazing Grace and its intentions are not for me. But if it's being sung by, say, President Obama at the funeral in Charleston, South Carolina, to provide comfort for thousands mourning their pastor who was assassinated in his own church by a white supremacist, that is an Amazing Grace worth considering and respecting. Or if it's Aretha Franklin singing it like she did at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles in 1972, that's okay with me too. So when I think back to that moment in the nursing home, when we all waited together for Clinton's final breaths, I can think of how much my sister-in-law, who was dear to me, loved my brother. And she knew that hearing is believed to be the last of our senses to go. And I can appreciate that she was providing him a comfort. She had been playing music for him for more than 2 hours and had covered a full spectrum of genres. The context of Amazing Grace playing was in love. And it was so that hopefully somewhere in my brother's psyche, he knew he wasn't going to die alone, that he was surrounded in love. That is a kind of amazing grace that I can get behind. Amen, and blessed be. Our closing hymn is I Know I Can, number 1015.
Though days be dark with sorrow, and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles weigh at every turn, I know I can go on. The sorrow heals my soul, and burdens make me strong. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. Though the journey is long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. So siblings, take my hand, and friends, sing my song. And all the ways at every turn, I know I will go on.
Please take a hand or shoulder of someone near you. The flame of our chalice and our candles are extinguished. Their light lives on in each of us. The flames binding our community as they empower us to reach toward justice. Go, live into yourself, and by doing so, inspire others to do the same. Our postlude, I think I'm supposed to say more. Please enjoy coffee and conversation. I love you all. I don't remember what Reverend Tara says. Go out and love the world. Amen.
And you did want to announce about
And our postlude will be Amazing Grace, but if it is a hard song for you, please feel free to go and enjoy coffee and conversation and get the good snacks first.
bright shining as the sun. Endless days to sing God's praise. Then when we first begun, we've numberless days to sing God's praise. Then when we first begun.